Hello and welcome. This is just a quick introduction really. We should have probably done a few other topics before this, but as we it should be an attachment to a YouTube, to a presentation I've created, but if it's not and you're just simply watching it on YouTube, this is about the motivation, or motivation part 2. This includes empowering, basically delegating control. It includes drawbacks and benefits, teamworking, and theorists of motivation. So let's start with that first one, empowering. Now, empowering workers basically means you're giving them the power to make decisions. So as I said, it's pretty much delegation. So what's an advantage of this? Well, I've come up with a theory. Yeah, I'm a theorist too. Now, the theory is about, it's the sort of anagram, if you like. There's going to be two T's, two words that begin with, well, 2 points that begin with T, one that begins with C. The first one begins with C, it's commitment. I think this is a good one to talk about, apart from the fact I can't spell it. So commitment, sorry, let me just make sure you can see that. Hopefully you can see that a bit better now. So commitment is all about, basically, if you're giving the worker some power to do their job, they will be more motivated. They will, yes, we'll do that because I'm getting more power than I did before, hence I'm going to try harder, and obviously it will entail a few other points. So, but commitment is a key thing you need to know. As well as commitment, we have, as I said, one begins with T, so it's time. Now, it's not simply create more time. What it does, we're talking in the context of the managers for this. So in terms of the time, the managers may have more time to make decisions in line with the directors. If it's a public limited company or PLC, then there will be direction of shareholders, will be able to communicate more. Basically, it gives the time manager more time to find the general direction of the business. So what way is this business going? So that's time, that's one of them. Now, as well as time, the other one is TS, basically team spirit. And now this is not the thing that used to sponsor the Renault F1 cars of the day, although, you know. So team spirit basically means if they're working in groups or empowering, it's giving delegation, power, the team spirit will allow the worker in question, it sort of motivates them in, that's not a very good one actually. So it's a new challenges. It's these two, Penn hasn't lost the will to live. These two, you could say are quite closely related, so they intertwine quite easily. Now, for the disadvantage of empowering, it's sort of another anagram, so I'll just put this as CTT. So commitment, time, team spirit. And now the anagram for this one, for the disadvantages, it's got 2 C's in it and a D. Yeah, and a D. So D, C, C. So that one's T, C, T, T, and that's D, C, C. Now the D stands for this, how have they worded it, sorry. Well, it's sort of deluded, it's not the best word, but deluded managerial roles. Now, what that basically means it's quite fancy wording for the manager. If he's delegating these roles, he doesn't appear to be in control, so the workers might just think of him as a regular Joe, just Jim Bob Jones from next door, doing his rounds sort of thing, and it may push personal and professional boundaries, mix them, which is never good for being efficient. Another disadvantage, we go on to the C's this time. This is control. Now obviously, if you are delegating control, you no longer have that control. So the worker, you've got to trust them well, otherwise, because the manager is responsible for delegating that power. Now it is empowering, so every time I say delegating, you need to remember it's still about empowering, but they are so interchangeable, it's practically the same thing. So control. Now the control is generally, as I said, you don't know what the worker's going to do and you're responsible for it if you're the manager. And obviously you can't be watching it back 24/7, otherwise it's pointless giving them control, as you won't have any free time, as we stated up here. So our other C is cost, so remember. So it's a cost of training the workers, because you can't just give it to anyone. For example, you know, say Jim Bob Jones is walking down the street with his bags and flailing it in the air, and you just go, you're going to be a manager of 1,000 people, because all these 1,000 people could have more skills than a manager, and the person delegating would actually be taking decisions from below. Now what's the point in that? Who would want just your subordinate delegating control, being delegated control, and you're going, more about me? So you need to train them, make sure they have the correct skills for the job, otherwise, what's the point in delegating? You might as well delegate to the plant pot and he'll do a better job. I'm not insulting anyone there, of course. So that's empowering, done and dusted. I'm going to get my red pen out now, it's going to get crazy. Oh, that's how crazy it is. Probably should have planned this before, never mind. So empowering. Now the next one we said were team spirit, or team working, actually is a better way to word it. Now a team working is basically sort of the same, well it's just not really, it's talking about team spirit, but the team working is where they put in groups and it's sort of like a collaborative effort, if you kind of think. So an advantage of team working, well the main one there's no anagrams for this unfortunately that I've thought of, but if you can, please comment on the video and I will surely give you a tick and go yes that's correct, or no you failed at life, you can never do business again, so no pressure. Team working. Now the first one we need to know is that, oh should I do this actually, sorry. Sorry, just oh yeah, I think it's a good one to go for. I was going to say responsibility, just to make sure that is on there. Yeah, that's good actually. So responsibility increases. So if you're spreading the job out, of managers that normally have greater responsibility, it's shared out, so that each worker will feel as though this is my own pressure, pressure that I'm putting on myself for the responsibility of this task that might have been delegated to someone above me, but because I'm in a team, everyone's sort of got the same sort of role, so it increases the responsibility. And obviously if people are more responsible, they're likely to work harder, so this increases labour productivity, which is another advantage. Another advantage of team working is you can solve problems quickly. Or quicker than if you're on your own, just put quickly. So this is if you've got more minds working on one given task or service, task or project, if It's a better word actually. You've got more minds, you've got more focus, you've got different opinions and that you might not have seen if you work on your own. So that obviously the solutions come to that a lot quicker. Now, there are disadvantages to this. As I said, I've only named a few. I don't bombard you in case, it's like, oh, where are these terms coming from? And to be honest, I just remember these ones because I think you can talk, apart from these two here, apart from them two, you can talk the most about the rest of them. Just make sure you can still see it actually. The camera might decide to move down. Yeah, hopefully you can still see that. It's a bit better. My head might be a bit bigger, never mind. So, a disadvantage of team working could be, so if you're all in a team, it's quite hard to measure each person's performance. So your performance might get passed on as other people's performance, which in my group is definitely not what happened. If you're watching this in business, so I don't know, individual performance can be diminished. So individual performance can be masked. Could be missed. Because of this, you could also say that the labour productivity, it's increased and it could be all put on one person, so unfairly distributed workload. Another disadvantage, and a final one, is if you're in a team, it's like you're having meetings constantly, you're all working together. So the more meetings you have, it takes time to set up the meetings, or it takes time to go through the meeting. So you could actually decrease your efficiency. So meetings could increase time of make it so meetings could affect decision time. Decision. Meetings could affect response times. I think that's a better way to put it. So, they're the main key things you need to know. Hopefully, you can just jot that down when my head's out of the way. So, empowering, you've got your C, TT, your commitment, your team spirit, your time, and then for the disadvantages, you've got D, TT, so your deluded roles of the manager, being deluded into other roles which might not be significant, which affect relationship. DCC, so you've got your less control and it costs more to train them. Team working, advantages, you've got increased responsibility, increased labour productivity, and better decisions could be made. In that term, I mean solve problems more quickly, disadvantage of team working, it could take more time to actually make decisions because you're working in a team, so you have to do it collaboratively. And another disadvantage that you could have is unfairly distributed workload, and labour productivity could be sort of hidden by different people as it's spread out, so you don't know who's done what. Hopefully that's giving you a bit of an overview to this topic. We're going to go on to theorists now. I'm just going to leave that up, actually. Leave that up. Why not? So we had a guy called Frederick, just make sure I'm doing this because I get the names right, I always get it wrong. So Frederick Taylor, basically he was all about the money. And he was like, workers are only motivated by money. You won't be motivated by getting promoted, who cares? I mean, as long as you get a bit of cash in your hand, that's all you care about. Well, Mr. Frederick Taylor got it wrong. Elton Mayo came along and went, that's incorrect, chap. It's actually about social interaction. Now, for you teenagers out there, it's not generally about Facebook. You didn't get on the 1700s and flick out the iPhone 1 and start logging onto the old Facebook and going, hey, this guy is a pleb or whatever, don't know what you want to call it. But then Abraham Maslow, it's like a bit of a weird chap, said, no, it's actually the 5 hierarchical levels: psychological needs, safety needs, social needs. He seems like he's got a lot of needs. No, pun intended there, esteem need and self-fulfillment. To be honest, so many of them are so closely related that I wouldn't really bother too much about individual ones. What he needs a lot of needs. So psychological, safety and social. You don't need to know all of them, I think. And then Herzberg came along and he says, well, it's actually about hygiene factors. So, telling people have done a good job and the nature of the job role. Because if you're a manager, you're like to be more motivated because of your job, not necessarily because you're getting paid or being told you've done well, than if you were a third floor janitor at, I don't know, an institution or a bank somewhere. Hopefully that's gone over it. So just go over it again. Your empowerment, your advantages for empowerment. CTT is you commitment for the workers, time for the managers, team spirit for the people involved, being delegated to. Disadvantage of empowerment. Well, one disadvantage is that it's in a thing, DCC, so distorted roles, costs of training them, and controlling them, so you don't know what they're going to do next. Team working, whatever it is, increases, an advantage is it increases responsibility, so they're more motivated to do better jobs, and increase labour productivity, better decisions are made, or they make them more quickly, which kind of dictates which one advantage, which is it could work slowly with more meetings, so you could sort of intertwine them into one juicy meaty paragraph. And another disadvantage, workers' performance can be diminished by other workers, and so unfairly distributed work. And then you've got the theorists, so you've got Frederick Taylor, his name, and he was about the money. Mayo was about the social interaction. The other guy was about the need, so psychological safety, how they feel in their job, and Frederick said you need to tell them they couldn't do a good job. Now that was a very quick overview. I will be doing some more topics to explain that, but hopefully you get it, and see you in the next video.